Welcome, welcome, welcome to On Friday Inspire. I am your host, Aaliyah, the Purpose Midlife. I want y'all to do me a favor. Hit that share button so that you can invite your friends, your family, so we can talk about, have some candid conversations around this topic with our awesome, awesome guests. Now, before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors. Thank you so much to sensational-galore.com. Y'all, Sensational Galore be hooking us up with the body butters and body scrubs and body oils and lip glosses. I actually have on one of their lip glosses now, as well as hi everybody, as well as um, their what did I had on the lip gloss and one of the body butters mango madness I think is the name of this one. But y'all check them out, sensational-galore.com. Thank you so much to Come Dance with Mina. If you go over to Facebook Land and you type in Come Dance with Mina, y'all, if you're ready for your wellness and fitness journey, we have an awesome time on Mondays and Thursdays. We do Zumba on Mondays, and on Thursdays, we do line dance. You can do it virtually or you can do it live. So you want to hop on over there and join that group. Yeah, we have so much fun. It is so much fun. And then if you need some books about, if you're a leader in any capacity, you want to go to iworkfaith.com and get my big brother and pastor's book. It is called Leadership Inside Trajectory. You can get it right there on iworkfaith.com. And then if you are an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur in any area, you can actually go to mombizboss.org, mombizboss.org, and join a phenomenal group of women that are they're a little bit everywhere now, but it's based out of Atlanta. And these are some awesome, awesome ladies. All right. And then last but not least, if you don't have my books, which I don't know why you wouldn't, you can go to onfridayinspire.com and get them, or you can go to any of your Amazon. You can go to Amazon. The coloring book, the affirmations coloring book is actually out there on walmart.com and target.com. But without further ado, we're going to hop on into our topic, y'all. Tonight, we're going to be talking about holiday happiness and emotions. Do me that favor and hit that share button, okay? So, this time of year is just, for some people, it's just like, oh my God, I'm ready for the holidays. And for others, it's like, oh my God, it's about to be the holidays. And so, with that said, we're going to bring on our guest tonight. This is her first time here on our platform. So, we want to welcome Dr. Miss Britny Logan. Welcome to On Friday Inspire. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm so excited about talking about this topic because, a lot of times people, they will kind of like sweep things under the rug. Well, that ain't helping nobody. It's not helping anybody. So before we hop on into the topic, I want you to introduce yourself to the On Friday Inspire family.
All right. Well, my name is Britny Logan. I have a doctorate in educational leadership and management. I'm a dedicated mental health coach, and my approaches are grounded in biblical principles. I focus on empathy, active listening, and just helping people be emotionally intelligent while they deal with challenges on a day-to-day basis.
Love it, love it, love it. Now, the topic itself, holiday happiness and emotions. What does this topic mean to you? What does it say to you? Great evening, everybody.
So when I heard about this topic, it stood out to me that you emphasize holiday happiness distinctively from holiday emotions. And so that stood out to me. And so it led me to think about the nostalgia, the warmth, the gratitude that people typically feel around Thanksgiving. But it also made me think about the people who might be grieving, who might be feeling lonely, who might be feeling anxiety as the holidays approach. Um, and so it made me think about the pursuit of happiness in the midst of juggling all the different emotions that can come up around the holidays.
That is so very true. And there could be so much stress centered around the holidays. You think about people are getting ready and they're preparing and they're doing everything. And sometimes people, they really, how can I say this? I'm just gonna say it. They actually set themselves up for failure because they know they can afford it, but they go get loans and they do all of these things. But you gotta live past a day, and so they set up some unnecessary stresses and stressors around that. Have you seen that a lot too?
I've seen that very much often. I think sometimes people don't have those conversations about the expectations. So you have some people who they see an exchange of a gift as a token of love and appreciation. And then you have people who just enjoy that quality time and then just not knowing what the expectation is. And then trying to keep up with the image, trying to make sure that people know that you love them, that you care. Sometimes even trying to allocate that time can just create a lot of different stress for people. So I think it's important to just have the conversations, like you said, just put it out there, say, hey, I'm not a big gift person, or I am a big gift person, but I understand inflation is high and life is life and you got different priorities. And I think it's just important to set those boundaries up and have those conversations.
Absolutely. Setting boundaries from the very start, and setting the expectation, even with, say with children, with families that have children, and, say someone's making less money, or you just have one of the parents that's not working, or whatever the case is, because you set up, for me, I would say set up the truth of about why we celebrate the holidays versus, oh, you getting all this name brand stuff and you can't afford to do that this year, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you say around that? That sounds like some sound advice.
Yes, that's really good advice. I think it's always important to it gets to the definitions we give and the weights we give to different things. So it kind of goes to I think earlier when I was speaking, it makes me think about love languages, but also to understanding why we get together for these different holidays. I think it's really important to know the purpose is to fellowship and to pour into each other and to uh, get different exchanges that add value, and it's not just monetary things, or it's not for vain things to show people the flashy things, or it's not for Santa Claus or any of that. Is for things of substance to add value to one another.
I love that. I love that, adding value to one another and genuinely appreciating each other for, for the small things. I remember when I was years ago working in Atlanta. I remember one of the in the corporate office, one of the top performing gentlemen was saying that their family was not buying gifts that year, that they were actually making gifts for each other. And I thought that was power. That was like really, really huge for me to see someone that had the funds
Mm-hmm.
that was saying, "Hey, we're not doing this." So, what do you say? When you think about somebody that could do it, but they're saying, "Nah, we're gonna do something different." What would you say? What do you say? What does that say for you or to you?
I think it's a testament that our patterns are what create results. I think a person who is able to reach certain accolades, they have to have a certain level of self control. They have to be able to prioritize certain goals and realize just because I have it doesn't mean I'm supposed to give it. So being able to recognize what we give our value to. And that's monetary and that's even the things internal that we have, those gifts that we have. Deciding where it should go, discerning where it should go, deciding if we want it to go there, but just not right now. All of those different things come into play.
Girl, you dropping some golden nuggets. I got to getting my dictation up in here. Great evening, everybody, as you're joining us. I love the part you said about setting healthy boundaries. I like that what you just said as well about just because you have it, don't mean you're supposed to give it. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Because if you have everything, really, what can somebody buy you that means anything? You know what I'm saying? If you have everything, and then if you're a person that things don't move you, then it's got to be something more. You know what I'm saying? So what would we say about the person that says, you know what, that's not even me. I hear what y'all saying, but I just lost my mom, and this is gonna be my first holiday without my mama. You know, I just lost my daddy. I was a daddy's girl. Um, and this is gonna be hard for me because I've never experienced this. This is the time that I've been with them. What would we how would we be able to help this person or these people through this time?
I think one of the big things is just realizing that we have to feel those emotions. It's not something to turn off or rush through. It's not something that we have to combat. Our emotions are a part of us. And for me, as a Christ follower, is someone who seeks to be more Christ-like. When I look at his example, he wasn't somebody who set himself apart from emotion. He didn't see it as a weakness. He didn't frown upon it. He showed us how to process it. And so even when I look at, right before he goes to the cross for us, before he bears it all, how he's able to go separate and he takes the disciples with him and he takes that moment to pray and he has that breakdown. And for me, what really stood out in that is even though he was breaking down, we see him crying, we see him weeping, and at this point, is so much stress on his body that is creating perspiration of blood at that time. It said that in the midst of that, while he's praying, and he's like, Lord, if it be your will, take this from me. It said he was strengthened. So physically, there was no change as far as him not feeling the pain or him not feeling the fear or him not feeling the weight of what he had to carry. But him just going to God and praying actually strengthened him in that moment. So realizing we don't see immediate changes, but just feeling it and trusting the process, praying, not isolating ourselves is super important because it's really easy to isolate ourselves, but that actually increases the likelihood of anxiety and depression. Um, and depression is pulling us into our past, and then anxiety is more futuristic. And so it's important to think about the things that keep us centered, to do different approaches. Like we can do breathing exercises. It's called box breathing. And the easy way to remember that is we know that it's square, all the sides are equal. And so it's about breathing in for 4 seconds and holding it, and then breathing out for 4 seconds and then holding our breath. And so it's 4, 4, 4, 4. Breathing in for 4 seconds, holding it, breathing out for 4 seconds, and then just holding our breath. And that just helps our system not be in fight or flight mode. It helps us regulate ourselves so that we can kind of reduce the anxiety and relax our system. And then also practicing mindfulness techniques where we focus on the present. So I do a method, 5 fingers. It's easy to remember. So taking the time to look at 5 things we see currently, looking at 4 things we can actually touch, 3 things that we hear, 2 things that we smell, 1 thing that we can taste, anything that gets us in our present moment so that we're not being pulled to either the past because it's something that we miss, that relationship, those milestones we won't have with that loved one, but also not feeling anxiety as we think about having to go on to accomplish those milestones, but not being able to celebrate in the way we had planned or had hoped or just imagined we would do. So I know I said a lot right there, but um, a quick little recap is I think it's really important for us to feel, have to sit in it. So don't fight our emotions, acknowledge them. Like I said, Jesus is a really good, solid example of doing that. He stepped aside, he prayed, he took a few people with him, and he was willing to tell them what he was feeling. He was willing to say, I feel like death right now. He was willing to tell his tribe that and to encourage them to pray. And so it's good to take our tribe with us to pray. It's good to practice mindfulness, anything that keeps us in the present. It's good to focus on breathing techniques that can help relax our systems because we'll naturally go through these moments of just missing and hoping and wanting that loved one, especially when it's recent.
That's so true. And you know something that's huge? I think we move so much, we do so much, we've forgotten how to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Society, we're doing this, we're doing that, and this, da, 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 da. And I think we've forgotten how to breathe. And so I'm so glad that you gave us that box method. You said we'll breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it 4 seconds, and breathe out for 4 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to capture that as I was typing. um, but that is key. Now, another thing you said was don't isolate yourself because it can cause anxiety. Let's touch on that because a lot of times when people are depressed or depression is trying to set in, they'll automatically go away from everybody and be by themselves. That is not good, especially when you just lost a loved
Mm-hmm.
one. And around the holiday season. So what could we give them to try to do in that case?
I can speak from personal experience. For me, I found that volunteering, just getting out and doing acts of kindness, acts of service, oftentimes we've encouraged myself. Um, I heard a saying where the person said, "We often give or teach the things that we ourselves need." And so I've seen that to be true a lot of times. So a person who needs more compassion, a lot of times they're more likely to be compassionate. A person who needs more joy, a lot of times they're more likely to be able to create humor, be comedic. And so that's an option, just getting out, doing some type of active service, even if it's spending time with someone else that you know might be dealing with it. So you could end up creating a grouping therapy session or counseling session where you're just getting together with people who are experiencing similar things and you're able to talk through it. Um, Creating activities, I think that moments of grief is not meant to just be bypassed. So kind of think about your favorite landmark. It's something that we view and we enjoy it and we revere it. We can capture these pictures and want to visit and all the things, but it's not meant for us to live there. So I think of grief in that way, where we will think about it and we will look at it, and it is good for us to reflect on it, but we're not supposed to live there. So the way that we go about not isolating ourselves in that moment is just being intentional. So actually planning ahead, like I said, being vocal about what we're feeling. Somebody needs to know that you're having a moment where you're feeling sad because they might not know. We're really good at putting on masks and being goal oriented and checking off the boxes. A lot of us are the most successful when we're being emotionally challenged. That's when we really thrive. We go in autopilot and we get things done. But it's important to be intentional about establishing that community. And if you don't have that community, then it's okay to go to the church to ask for counsel there or to ask somebody who's involved in mental health or just a close loved one. Hey, what are you doing? Do you mind if I visit? Or can you spend a little time with me during this time? But it's never good to be alone because we just got those thoughts on repeat. We have like 60,000 thoughts per day, and 90% of it is repetitive. So when we get in a slumpy phase or a really sad mood and we're having repetitive thoughts and they're negative, it's really the enemy's ground. And we can't allow that. We got to be able to rebuke those thoughts. We got to be able to combat that and reframe our focus so that we're more intentional on what we meditate on and what we feed.
I love that because as the saying goes, what you feed will grow. And so, yes, that's good. That's really good. What are we feeding? Are we feeding the grief? Are we feeding ourselves something that can you know, um, help us get past that? So I love that. Um, so being intentional about establishing a community, I like that because there may be a lot of other people who are in that same space, um, physically, mentally, emotionally, that you all can help each other. Um, we have a group of friends that get together for Friendsgiving. A lot of us have lost our parents. A lot of us, all of our children are grown, and so we're mostly college friends, but We get together once a year, well, twice a year actually, and that's good. And so people, if they can find people that they have commonalities in, and just a group of people just encouraging each other, keeping each other encouraged, keeping each other accountable, that can be very helpful too. So I love that, being intentional about establishing a community. Love it. Now, I also love the fact that you said about volunteering and acts of service. That's excellent because I have a cousin. When he was in school or right after school, a lot of times he wouldn't be able to come home because you have to work the day after Thanksgiving. So a lot of times he would go down to the homeless shelter, or he would go to different places and feed, the less fortunate or the underserved. So I love that acts of service, to be able to help combat what you got,
Mhm.
so you won't be by yourself. So that's good. I love it. Love it. Um, what about the person that says, okay, I'm the perfectionist, and I just have to have everything right, and I'm the one that hosts everything every year at my house. And so, can you help me with the anxiety before it gets started this year? What would you say to that person? Because they're like a week and 2 days away, and they already stressing. What would we say to this person? What advice would we give to this person?
Try to break things into smaller tests. Uh, really, I mean, perfectionists. That's something to pray through and ask God to deliver uh, you from, if that's something that you're experiencing, because we're not made to be perfect. Like, God thrives in our flaws. He thrives in the cracks of us. He's able to let our light shine through, able to let it shine back to him to show what he can do, even though we're flawed. So um anything that can like relax a person is what I would recommend. For some people that's working out, for some people that's going to get a massage, for some people, it might mean um, that you maybe condense the elaborate plans that you created, or if that's just something you're not willing to do, you have to do it all, then I think it just comes down to like doing a little each day, pacing it out. So if you are the person cooking all the food, then it's super important for you to have what you need. I know you gotta season it, you gotta let it really sit so that everything is spiced up in the way that you want it. And um, I'm trying to think of another. That's a hard one because for a perfectionist, it might mean that that person is not willing to delegate or relinquish that control. And that's really a key solution for that type of situation is to let go of that control.
Yes, and delegating would be key. Delegating other things too. But like you said, if they're not willing to relinquish the control, they're gonna be stressed. So either pace yourself, give yourself a little mini deadlines to get to that point, or what else you say? You said relinquish some of that control.
Mhm. Um,
Yes.
I mean, even breathing techniques will help with that as well. Even practicing where you tighten your muscles starting at your feet and you go up to your head, it relieves like the muscle tension that we a lot of times get when we stress. I know a lot of women a lot of times carry their stress in their shoulders or their neck. So just like imagine that you're lying on your bed or your couch and then tighten your muscles from your feet and then slowly go up from your feet all the way up to your neck. Just tighten it, and it releases the tension out from those areas that we often hold it in. The stress does become physical. So maybe journaling. Uh, if you're a singer, dancer, creator, do the things that help you just get that peace of mind.
Love it. I never knew about the tightening muscles and stuff to release it. I didn't know about that. I'm gonna try that. Love it. So y'all, we've learned so much so far. We got breathing techniques, y'all. We got different ways. Okay, Brian says, I would even invite this type of person to remember the purpose of the gathering instead of getting stuck in perfect detail. Come on, Brian. That's excellent. I love it. I love it. Remembering the purpose. What is your why? I love that. Thank you, Brian, for the input. What is your why? Because so many times we get so caught up in the finished product, but why are we doing this from the very beginning?
Right.
It's all about. And I love that you talked about getting back to bringing yourself back to the present, because for those who and I have never experienced this, and I don't never want to experience it, but for people who have lost children, and then they're so caught up in the grief of losing that child that they miss the the life and the present of their other children. The other children, it's like they're stuck in a spiral. And so those children is like, okay, but I don't have a mother here because you're still grieving the loss of this one. And so some of these techniques may be even helpful for someone even going through things like this. So girl, you've been a blessing. And Brian, that was on time for that. Revisiting the why. Now that's good. This good stuff tonight, y'all. Any other comments over there or questions for us as we're coming, uh, wrapping up these questions? And oh, yeah, this has been good tonight, Brittany. Dr. Brittany, this has been awesome. Um, but I know this was just really, really on my heart. The Lord laid it on my heart last week. And I don't do a show. Every show that I do a topic centered around whatever God gives me. Aha. He said, Dr. Logan taught me. Right now. Yes, 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 Dr. Logan. He learned. You have a studious student. So he learned from you. Um, but there are so many things that we can learn from being present in the present instead of being, for me, I'm a multitasker and I'm trying to not do that as much so that I can be present in the present. Um,
Mhm.
I tell a lot of my clients, I say, look, life is going to go by whether you're present or not. And you don't want to miss out on your children's childhood because you weren't present. You can't press rewind to get their childhood back, and you can't press rewind to get that time back. So do whatever you need to do to be present in the present. What do you think about that statement?
I like that. Whatever you need to do to be present in the present. I like that. I think if a person really takes that to heart, then it speaks to us about accountability and reflecting to see where we are. For me, I always ask three questions when I'm listening to a person, when I'm providing counseling. I'm always wondering where they are in their journey. Um, I'm looking at that if it's a faith-based counseling session. I'm looking at it where they are in relation to Christ. So, do they find themselves close? Are they having intimacy time with God? I'm looking at what they're doing um, in the midst of that relationship, that distance or that closeness. And then I'm looking at the thoughts, the beliefs that they have that I hear coming out as they're explaining where they are in the process and what they're doing. And so those three questions are letting me know basically um, what's in their heart, because that's influenced by what we're letting our ear gates, what we're meditating on. Those are the things that lead us to producing our actions or producing the fruits. And so it's all connected. And if a person is taking the time to do what he or she needs to do to be present, then that's us realizing when we're not, and realizing the things that distract us, realizing the things that pull us away from our purpose, or realizing the things that cause our why to be blurred. And it causes us to just be centered. It causes us to reflect, ask questions of God, ask questions of our loved ones that can put up that mirror for us as well. And then it allows us to create a plan and then be accountable for actually executing that plan. So I really like that.
Yes, I like how you worded that. I'm trying to be your I'm a person that loves taking notes. So I was typing the question, what are you allowing to cause your why to be blurred? Oh, I love it. Let's see here. All right. I can't pronounce the first name, but they said, truly needed this after losing my aunt and younger brother. I don't know what happened. I was reading and then it just dropped on me. All right, sorry about that, y'all. Technical difficulties. She said after losing my aunt and younger brother last year, this is great advice and the techniques that I can utilize this year for the holiday season. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that. And if you know anyone else that can utilize this, please sow this into them, share it. It will be available on replay. For those of you who are on Facebook watching it, it'll be available on replay. But I still want y'all to go over to YouTube because we're still building that channel. So go over to YouTube to Leah the Purpose Midwife and hit the subscribe button. But I want y'all to actually share what stood out to you tonight. When we finish everything, we shut everything down. I want y'all to go over to the YouTube, Leah the Purpose Midwife, and tell us what in this conversation has stood out to you, or what something that a technique that you learned. What kind of hit here for you? Because what hits me may not hit you. And there's been so much that I've learned, and so many. Sometimes we know some things, and other times we learn some things. But those things, even that when somebody bring it to the forefront of your mind, is so helpful. It's like, yeah, wait a minute, why don't I do that anymore? So yes, absolutely. This is awesome, marvelous, quite marvelous. Oh my goodness. Any other questions or comments? Thank y'all for sharing that. That's amazing. That like I told you, Brittany, I said, um, when God placed that on my heart, He also showed me you, and so I knew you were the perfect person for this conversation tonight. Um, and I knew that it was going to be some people that needed it. And I'm the person that I don't get caught up in numbers. I could care less if it was one person. If it was that one person that shared who they needed this, or Brian sharing that piece that he learned, if that was what God had it for, this is all about that. Because there's somebody that's on the replay that they're going to be like, oh my God, this is what I needed, you know? And
Mhm.
so thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. Anybody else have any questions or comments before we wrap up? All right. So Brittany, um, anything final that you want to leave with us to share that you want to share with us? Anything final that you want to share with us about this topic, about whatever that's on your heart?
Uh, I guess I want to say for people who are grieving someone who is or has transitioned to heaven. For me, what really brought me peace is First Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 13 through 18. And if you read it, it talks about how we will grieve like everybody else, but we're not supposed to grieve like worldly people who don't know the promise of God. God has promised us that our loved ones are with Him, not apart from Him, and that we'll be joined together. They're apart from us in our flesh, but they don't have to experience the temptations that we have to experience. They don't have to experience the loss that we have to experience because we're in a fallen world. They don't have to experience the the heartache that oftentimes just comes on a day to day basis of just being in relationships, whether it's professional or friendships or romantic or family, whatever it is, it's just the day to day life. There are ups and downs in it. And that's how we know that we're alive. I think of it like a heart monitor. It's the ups and downs. It's just the flow of it. And it's not something that is meant to cause us to be in despair or to be hopeless. It's meant to remind us that Jesus got on the cross for us and he said it is finished. And that means we don't have to hurt forever. We don't have to fight forever. We don't have to be in abyss or experience the anxieties, the depressions, the worries, and just to be encouraged. Do not give up. Some days are harder than other days. And that's for the people who are grieving people. Maybe the person hasn't passed away, but it hurts too when we're grieving people who are still alive and we can't reconcile with that person for whatever reason. We can't have civil conversations or invite that person to celebrate milestones. Whatever the grief is, just remember to keep putting one foot in front of the other and remember to keep your hope. However you need to do that. If it's just getting up and trying to focus on one thing of gratitude, if it's writing a letter to that loved one of things you wish you could say or wish you could do or things you wish you could share, if it's uh, getting out and like I said, giving out what you wish you had, that comes back full circle. So just don't get in a position where you're giving up hope. That's the big thing I want to say.
Great. And what was that scripture one more time?
It's First Thessalonians, and then it's chapter 4, verses 13 through 18.
All right. Got it in there. That way they have it in their script because I'm the scribe tonight. All right. Well, Dr. Brittany Logan, we appreciate you tonight. Thank you so much for the wisdom. Thank you so much for your heart because this was a topic that when when God put it on my heart, I was like, "Ooh, yeah, we need that." And it can be really strong for someone. Even my mom's been gone for 30 years, but I was an only child to a single mom. So, we were really close. That was my bestie. And so the holidays don't tend to be hard for me, but they could be. But one of the things that I do is I focus on the great memories and I keep them here because they no one can take them from here or here. And so, and that may help someone who's in that place of grief. Like, you know what? My memories will always be right here with me. And you live and love in that place and keep living and being able to make them proud. Because I love to say this, as long as there's life in as long as there's breath in my body, there's purpose to fulfill. So as God has given that to me, is as long as I'm alive and on this side of the earth, and it's time I still have things that He has called me to do to fulfill the purpose and the plan for my life. And so thank you again for the reminders that you've given us. Thank you so much for the exercises that you've given us. Y'all, make sure you share this and sow this into someone's life. And y'all go back and listen to the replays if you missed any of it and go over to YouTube under Aaliyah the Purpose Midwife and hit subscribe, like, and then tell us what stood out to you. Thank you again, Brittany, for sharing with us tonight. We love you. We appreciate you, girl.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Y'all, thank y'all so much. We'll be back same time, same week, same place next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about, and Brittany, we're going to be talking about this, Dr. Britt. We're going to be talking about what are you thankful for? So tonight, we're talking about helping us. But next week, we're going to be talking about what are you thankful for? And it's going to be open forum. So I'd love to hear from many of you on what you are thankful for. Because guess what? She just reminded us that we got a lot to be thankful for. So we'll see y'all same time, same place next week. Have a blessed one.